Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Undisciplined Mind podcast for Saturday, May 21st, 2016. As of this recording, Sierra is still missing. So what I thought I'd talk about today is a relatively new podcast that I'm listening to these days. I have taken a little while to kind of get caught up. I didn't listen to everything, but it's called the Myths and Legends podcast, and it lives up to its name. It's all about myths and legends. I believe, if I remember correctly, I heard about it because I think the guy who does the podcast, and I totally blank on his name, did a guest voice on the You Must Remember This podcast, I think. And I thought, myths and legends. You know, I got into it for two reasons. And first of all, because I thought, well, it'd be fun to listen to a bunch of myths and legends that maybe I'm not familiar with, A. And B, I thought it might make for some good story fodder down the road. Maybe there's something there that will really pique my interest, and you know, I can build something off of that. And so I subscribed to it. I downloaded a bunch of the back catalog. I didn't download everything, but there were some. He had a whole series on King Arthur, and there were two or three of those that sounded especially interesting that I downloaded. And I think I grabbed like last month or so. The size of them is pretty manageable. They are usually about half an hour to 45 minutes long, so it's not too bad as far as that goes. When I grabbed a bunch of Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, that was a little more problematic because they were like 3 hour long episodes, which I really enjoyed, but it just took me forever to get through them all. But I've now listened to all of that back catalog. I've listened to the Legend of Mulan was one that he did. He did one that was on the Tricksters, which I think is something he's going to do more often. So it was really like a trio of stories. One was of Coyote the Trickster, which I think is from Native American tradition. And there was a Loki story. And then there was a Nasi story, which was interesting to me because I just got done reading by Neil Gaiman, Anasi's Boys, which, if you don't know, there's these kind of quasi-godlike creatures in African folklore that have human attributes but also have the attributes of certain animals. And Anasi is the spider. And so in that book, Anasi dies, but now he's got two boys, one of which he doesn't realize his father is a mythological being that have to kind of deal with each other. And it was an interesting book. It was a strange book, but it was an interesting book. So you had the three tricksters. You know, there were a number that were about Arthur that I mentioned. One of the things I enjoy about it is that he does throw in, he's telling these stories and he's trying to be true to the times, and he has commentary if there's like discrepancies or whatever, but he will also throw in, you know, current references. Like there was this one that was about King Arthur that was about I think some of the wars that were going on in that time to unify the country under Arthur. And so his title for that episode was The Violence Inherent in the System, which, if you've ever seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, you know, that is a well-known line from that movie. And then he threw in something else in there. I think he threw in the line about, you know, water retards handing out swords is no basis for a system of government. I think he threw that in there in some form as well. So I do enjoy that, and that he makes little geeky references to some of these various stories. But they're pretty interesting, and he does a good job. They come out weekly. So I think he's, if you up and subscribe right now, I think he's not putting one out for next week because he's moving. But or maybe maybe that's this week, some week. But yeah, there's plenty of back catalog out there if you want to check him out. I would recommend it. I will put a link in the show notes for the subscription service, but I just found him on the directory that's included in my podcatcher. There's a little search feature, and I found him right there. So I'm not sure what directory it links to, but he's probably on most of them. Myths and legends, and I'm sure he's on iTunes. So anyway, that's really what I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to do a short one. I've done a couple long ones. I know yesterday was long, so I'll do a short one today. I will be back on Monday, and I'll be talking to you then. So, be seeing you.